How's it going, YouTube? Malagant here. We are going to be talking about my Cabalist, my Zappy bird summoner. One thing that I should say is that this was legitimately my first ever summoner build that I have done in Grim Dawn. I wanted to try something new, and so we decided I've never played a summoner, so why not? Checked out the Grim tools, checked out what sort of sets that are available to me, what sorts of sets I have in my bank, and ended up going for the Bysmiel, the Zappy birds, and was also wondering how it was gonna fare, how it was going to be playing out, simply because I was kind of curious how strong the birds can get. We have only 4 pets here, and I have only literally 1 point into every single node of Hellhound, so the Hellhound is not necessarily there to just do almost anything other than be a peasant. We have the Stinky Potato, the Blightfiend, that is basically AoEing and generating aggro, and he's a good tank, definitely a good tank for the most part. And then we also have the birds that are we have 2 birds thanks to the set, 4 set bonus of the Bysmiel set. And our birds are basically there to shotgun and single target, absolutely destroy. The bird's AoE is not necessarily the greatest, but the character's AoE is not necessarily that bad. Even though the AoE of our DPSs are not that great. Let's talk about the playstyle a little bit. Is the playstyle easy? I wouldn't say it is easy, but I would say that it's simple once you get used to it. So it's not necessarily something that is going to be making you think, or it's not going to be something that's gonna make you tired, or constantly focus. Not at all. In fact, this is, in my opinion, a little bit easier to play than compared to the recent shield breaker that I have posted. Even though there are lots of buttons on the bars. So why is it simple? Simply because while we are running around, if there are no relevant targets, and what that mean is that if there are no elites around, you just curse them. When you find an elite like this one, you just make sure that your birds are in melee range, and afterwards you piano from 2 to 6 in my in my key bindings basically. So from 2, 3, and 4, those are pet buffs. 5 is the Blood of Dreeg. It is something that we keep on spamming all the time in every cooldown anyways, because the buff is incredibly important for me and the pets. So we need to keep that buff up on me and the pets. And then the 6 is a Doombolt that is proccing a Devotion. So while I'm running, if there are no elites, I just curse. I run, and I curse that, and I keep on running, and the curse is this thing. Curse of Frailty. So we can curse that, and we can keep on running. And they will most likely be dying, believe it or not. Our DPS is, fairly enough to just keep on running, and after the curse, almost everything is going to be dying to either the bird or the Stinky Potato, let's say. But the second that we end up finding an elite, what we do is basically just make sure that the birds are in melee range with the elite, so that they can shotgun every single projectile is going to be hitting them. And afterwards we just piano from 2 to 6 onto the target, and 100% they will be dead in about 5 to 6 seconds. Trust me, the amount of single target DPS that this character has is in fact so much more than anything that I have played so far. It's actually ridiculous. As long as your pets are surviving and you don't necessarily need to interrupt them, you don't necessarily need to move them around, then the DPS will be 100% up there. It feels amazing, in fact. Even against one of the strongest enemies, such as the Gargaball inside here. The only thing that I had a very hard time was against Galagadra, the new super boss. My pets are not necessarily surviving. I think I need to specialize against especially the piercing resistance against Galagadra, and I didn't necessarily bother doing it because I killed it with my shield breaker afterwards. What are the pros and cons of the character? The pro, I would say, or pros I would say, is that it's incredibly simple to play, as I said. It's very chill. After getting used to it, all you do is run and curse. You literally don't do anything else. Once you engage an elite, again, I'm kind of repeating myself, but we're gonna engage one over here. So while I'm cursing like this, oh, birds are in melee range, I just spam 2 to 6 on top of him, and that's it. There's literally nothing else. So it's extremely simple to play, in fact, and that is one of the pros in my opinion. And extremely high single target is making the game a little bit simple as well, and that's something that was kind of unique to me, because most of the time my builds, I realized after playing this, is that like they were very heavy on the AoE side, but like when it comes to single target nuking, they were kind of mediocre, it turns out, like compared to this, definitely. So let's go to town. In the town we can like kind of discuss this a little bit further. Another pro that I can tell is that like the character doesn't necessarily take all that much damage thanks to this Stinky Potato right next to me. He's capable of like keeping quite a lot of aggro, in fact. And he's very fast at that too. Like most of the time nothing is coming to you at all. But if anything at all comes to your character, what you should be doing is that like you should just like command your pets towards your character. So let's say like we're on the left side, our pets are like fighting at that lamp post over there, but that there's something exactly on my character annoying me. I instantly like call them back, and that's it. You know, let them kill whatever is right next to you, and then, you know, whatever you want to kill, just command them back there again. I should probably just repeat myself about this. It is extremely important that like your birds are in the melee range of the target. There's a massive difference if these birds are like attacking from here to this dummy, or if they're attacking from right next to the melee range. Simply because of the shotgun mechanic, they're having these projectiles spreading from the melee range. So if you're in the melee range, every single projectile is going to be hitting the target. So it's like a shotgun effect, therefore. So it's incredibly important to like, you know, command them instantly to the relevant target's melee range and try to keep them there. Try to definitely keep them there. Let's check the stats a little bit. Unbuffed over here. What I mean unbuffed is like unprocced and unbuffed by these buttons, I suppose. To be honest with you, like compared to some of the like other pet builds, I would say like this is looking definitely respectable in my opinion. The poison and acid resistance is maxed out obviously when you have the Blood of Dreeg buff. So the only resistance issue we have is kind of like the pierce and the bleed. I couldn't necessarily come up with like a way to like fix my pierce resistance so reliably unless like I respec out of like a devotion or something. But this is definitely sort of fine. For the bleed, if you think that like this is an issue for you, you could go for like a there's an augment that you can put to one of the accessories that's going to be giving you like 30% or something ridiculous bleed pet resistance, in fact. So that's gonna fix that too if you would like to. Otherwise, the attack speed, I want you to pay attention to the attack speed of the pets while they're fighting. It is actually mind-blowing like how fast they are. It is all the way up to 170%. That is just ridiculous. Same goes for like the offensive ability and the crit damage and the all damage. Everything just goes out of their minds, and the DPS is very, very high compared to anything that I have played so far, in fact. Especially for the single target. Cannot really like emphasize that enough. So I should have probably said this at the start of the video. I'm very sorry about that. I forgot to mention this, but this character right here, just like many other build guides out there, it's not necessarily like the most beginner friendly. That doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be a veteran player at all. No, it's actually a simple playthrough, as I said it time and time again. It's all about the items. The items are, you know, most of the items are must to have, especially the Bysmiel set. I would say like the Bysmiel set, so the accessories, double ring, one necklace, and the medallion are a must to have, and on top of that, it's probably a must to have the mind weaver as well. But the mind weaver is a lot easier to get to because like it's a craft and the recipe is being sold by the Bysmiel, Cult of Bysmiel quartermaster, if I'm not mistaken, so it's incredibly easy to get to that at least. The rest of the items you could definitely make do with like whatever pet items you could find. But the ones that I'm wearing right now, apart from the chest piece, I'm in fact searching for a chest piece. If I'm not mistaken, it's like Fiend Master chest piece or something. I'll link the completed build, let's say, or the theory crafted build down below in the description if you would like to check it out. It's gonna have the Fiend Master most likely. That's the chest piece that I'm looking forward to finding, but it's not really dropping for me. So the rest of the items, though, I'm pretty content with. Simply put, what the items are trying to do is basically, you know, not only optimizing like the most amount of like attack speed or like total speed, offensive ability, crit damage for the pets, but at the same time they're also trying to convert to elemental damage from like fizz, acid, and vitality. and all these damage types are kind of there for you, so you kind of need to like convert as much as you can. So when it comes to like comparing, let's say, two Bysmiel authorities, you should definitely be focusing on like what sort of percentages that are coming from, like, you know, the conversions on the bonus to pets. Those are like the most important parts. I honestly couldn't care less if there was like, you know, a lot less all damage on my character and whatnot. So the itemization in that department is pretty easy if you have the legendaries, obviously. If you have these 5 pieces, the rest definitely you can make it so that like you can farm even some green items, as long as they're like buffing your pets, it will be fine. I have decided to go for like the Fiend flesh on both the shoulders and the boots. One thing that I can tell you is that like the character has 20,000 HP. I might have actually like forgotten to open an aura or something. I'm checking it out right now. Yeah, in fact, like I forgot to open an aura. So we were missing even more vitality damage and 10% HP from me and my pets. So we are sitting on about like 21,000 HP right over here, as you can see. The character is not that tanky, and the only tanky part about the character is the HP pool, and 21,000 is not even the only HP pool that we have. Right from like the Fiend Flesh Mantle and the boots, we have about like 10,000 each damage absorption, so about like it's capable of proccing at the same time, about like 20,000 more even absorption. But other than that, like our defensive, you know, capabilities are, apart from like the physical resistance and the defensibility, like our armor is, you know, quite low. I would say our armor absorption is definitely incredibly low. Our resistances are kind of like kind of, and our stun resistance is kind of low as well, in my opinion, and we are kind of missing these as well. So the character is sort of susceptible. I wouldn't necessarily like engage anything that is like hard hitting in melee range with this guy at all. I would definitely try and stay far away, but luckily the playstyle is definitely favoring that too. So for the most part it has been okay, to be honest with you. And even if you fail at something, like there's almost nothing that is capable of hitting this hard. So you'll be able to sort of like react to it with like your cluster, your heal potion. And another thing that is like sort of not that great is basically the fact that there's no sustain, let's say. So the only sustain that you have is again like Blood of Dream, but you're trying to like spam that on cooldown, so can you even like count that? Otherwise it's the Tonic of Mending, the heal potion. Let's look into like skills a little bit. It's extremely simple though, like there's not even that many skill points that you're taking, so you're definitely maxing out the Blightfiend as your one of your bread and butter in this one. It's more the AoE and the tankiness that is the Blightfiend is bringing to you, and obviously the taunt effect, the generation extra threat. You have the aura that is coming out over here, the health aura especially. You have the Call of the Grey, which is a, you know, good proc for your pet. You don't necessarily need to have like 12 points into this, but I think I have only 2 points in fact. The rest is coming from my gear pluses. Master of Death definitely isn't the best aura, I would say, for the pets, especially for a build like this. So I could actually like see myself going for something like Possession instead if I wanted to play it much more defensively. But I've been very obsessed with like the single target DPS, so that like I went with Master of Death as well. The 12% offensivity over here is like nothing to joke around, so but I could see myself going for Possession as well if I wanted to. Definitely, they're like kind of head to head, because it's not that big in my opinion, since we're like dealing for the most part elemental damage. The vitality and the poison damage multipliers over here is not necessarily working for us, so is the acid. We have the Curse of Frailties, incredibly big. Not only for the minus resistance that is coming from this part, but also for the movement speed. It's so big, because thanks to the 50% movement speed reduction to everything around, you're capable of like maneuvering around them very easily. And that is very important for your survival, for the most part. You'll be able to like position your character in a safe place. Definitely maxing out the entire familiar. This is basically what the character is all about, the familiars. I wish I had like more points into these as well. I didn't put any points into Men Flesh because I have a feeling that like it's actually nerfing our DPS, because the pets are like stopping attacking to cast this thing. That is how I felt like. I'm not 100% sure on that one. But even then, I don't necessarily think that this is needed in the first place. We have the Bonds of Bysmiel. I don't think I have any points into this, just one obviously. The rest is coming from the pluses, and then I maxed out the manipulation. You could go even the overcap, even to the ultimate ranks if you would have liked to. It's kind of up to you. I'll definitely say that you should be sitting on like the normal caps over here. If you would like to, you could even go for higher caps, especially in the aspect of the Guardian for the physical resistance for your pets. As I said at the beginning of the video, Hellhound, I only have 1 point just for the value, so that like I can gain a lot of pluses from my set, and then he can just do whatever he does. But most of the time when I like set my pets to aggressive, I kind of like leave him on the normal mode, simply because he's extremely weak. I'm guessing I wouldn't really like to be bothered for summoning him again, so that's why. And that's it, in fact, like there's literally nothing else. We're using the Doom Bolt to proc something, simply because Doom Bolt has like one of the highest chances in the entire game to proc something. I think it's about like 51%, and the best part about this is that Doom Bolt procs twice. So that means that it's back-to-back 51% in most of the things. It is tied to this thing over here. This is actually 100% on attack, so it doesn't even matter if it's twice or not. So every single time we cast the Doom Bolt on the target, on a target, let's say, we are going to be able to, you know, proc the Howl of Mogrigan. We could talk about the devotions a little bit for the most part. I've tried and take, you know, the passive damage increase as much as I could. There are some regrets. I would actually like to talk about the regrets a little bit more than like the ones that I have. The ones that I have are basically like focusing on all damage for the pets, some resistances for the pets, and most importantly offensive ability and crit damage for the pets. Those are, you know, with like the two of the biggest procs, which are the Shepherd's Call and the Mogrigan's Howl. That's pretty much it. We have like some actives, Elemental Storm obviously for the elemental resistance reduction, and then the Flame Torrent on the birds as well. This is definitely not that necessary. If you could like fill this in with something else, feel free to do so. And we have some more crit damage from there and over here as well. Now, to talk about the regrets though, this is quite important. One of my regrets is basically this, the Leviathan. I would not like to go for Whirlpool. I was actually like considering to basically like drop this Fiend, take the same amount of build up from something else for cheaper, and take these 4 points. I have only 4 points into this for the passives. It's not too bad. It's about like, you know, 30% all damage, some total speed, more all damage and HP. You could definitely drop this. I could see myself dropping this. It's fine. So maybe like try and gain 1 more point from this, so we have like 5 points, which is coming all the way up to like to the Whirlpool. One thing that I learned while I was theory crafting a pet build for the first time in Grim Dawn, which is very cool, is that like when you link something like this onto a pet, it actually scales from the pet bonuses. So the Whirlpool, if it is linked to Hellhound, the Whirlpool's damage is going to be scaled from the pet bonuses my character has. And that's amazing in my opinion. So therefore the Whirlpool is going to be very strong. So I would like to try this. I didn't really try it yet. I'd definitely like recommend you to check it out maybe. The other thing is going to be the fact that like Arcane Bomb. My problem with the Arcane Bomb is the fact that it cannot be procced by a pet for some reason. I don't necessarily know why, so I'm guessing you're gonna need to go for like Curse of Frailty. In this case, Curse of Frailty is a ridiculous procker as well, by the way guys, simply because like it's for 11 seconds the duration, as you can see, and it basically pulses. So every single pulse, it's, you know, trying to proc it one more time. Even if it's failed, or if the cooldown of the devotion reset it, it will proc it one more time. So it's amazing in that sense. But the Curse of Frailty is already taken by the Shepherd's Call. So in that case, like, you're gonna have one more button. That's pretty interesting. And we don't necessarily have that many buttons remaining on the action bar. So, story of the life of Summoner, I suppose. So back to the Arcane Bomb. Why is it so important? It's basically because like our 80%, maybe even higher percentage of our damage is coming from lightning, and we don't necessarily have that high minus resistance. We have the Curse, obviously, the Curse of Frailty, and then we also have the Elemental Storm, like almost nothing else. So it definitely does matter. Unless I'm missing something here. it is definitely possible. So excuse me if that's the case, but this one right over here, when it's the maximum rank, it's like 35% more, in fact, minus resistance. So that is extremely big. If you can reliably practice from something, and I'm guessing that like the most reliable way is the Curse of Frailty, as I said before, it is actually probably worth going for this. But now on the opposite side, on the contrary, you're obviously going to be dropping something very big, because like this is 6 points and it's only giving you like 3 blue, so you're gonna probably need to like drop something else. So you'll need to like figure that out. Let me know in the comment section below like what you're gonna come up with, and also maybe it is going to be even more DPS than what I have over here. It is definitely likely that it will be. So I think this is actually going to be it. I'm willing to continue this video as like a series, let's say. Like I can definitely like make one more of this and continue to talk about like this character specifically. Before closing it, how can you build up to this with like a new character? If you're new to Grimdawn, how can you make a Cabalist and then build up to this? As I said at the start of the video, it's not only that beginner friendly simply because it requires the legendaries that it has. Most of the build guides, unfortunately, it does, because like build guides means that a strong character, and strong characters usually wear, you know, quite lots of legendaries like this. But you could build up to some sort of like a skeleton caster with a Blightfiend, and then play it with like without the conversions, so you don't necessarily have like your bird strong yet, because our bird is strong thanks to the Bysmiel. So you could play it like, you know, skeleton caster and Blightfiend and vitality damage for the most part. Scale vitality as high as you can, all damage, vitality, and then afterwards, when you complete the Bysmiel set, you could turn into this spec, definitely. For sure, I could definitely see that working. I could definitely see something like that working for me. So if you would like to play such a Cabalist, feel free to do so. And if you have any question whatsoever, or if you would like to have any suggestions when it comes to like a secondary part for this build guide, I'm definitely looking forward to it in the comment section below. Let me know. Don't forget to like the video. It definitely helps the video a lot. Peace out, YouTube. Thank you very much for watching.